Sorry, I've had a funny couple of hours. Um, Hi, it's me. And yes, you read the title right. I did burn my fingers, multiple of them. I could be worse, honestly. I could have burnt my whole hand or something. Um, I am definitely not gonna be streaming for super long today. Honestly, instead of being like a really like deep creative process kind of stream, I think it's gonna be more of like a stream where I just sit and talk about music stuff. Mostly because my hands, both of them. Okay, so what happened was I burnt like two fingers on my left and like two very tiny burns on my right. So my right was fine, and I thought like, oh, it's fine, everything's great. And then I tried to take out the net in a bottle. Don't ask me what that is. It's like it was in my cold brew bottle, the one that I bought from. I also have some more cold brew tea today. Reused leaves and whatnot. I didn't want to waste them, especially since I can't seem to be take out the net from that bottle. So basically this net, I've shoved my hand in trying to like pull it out, and it it bit back. So I kind of like stabbed my finger, same one that got burned, not the super bad burn, but like the one that got like a little bit burned. Um, so yeah, now both my hands are injured, and it's very hard to do anything. I'm hoping by tomorrow the burns will be like normalized enough, because I put on the ointment as soon as I got burnt. So I'm honestly not that worried about them not healing properly, because this ointment is literally like magic. So that's not the concern. The concern is how fast are they gonna heal, because I do need my hand um, for things like singing, because I need to hold a mic. I genuinely don't know what to say. Also, I'm like, secondly, I'm kind of sleepy. Like, I think I want to sleep early-ish today. So that's why. Two reasons why I thought, you know what, maybe even though I've decided to stream still, I'm gonna just keep it kind of like chill and shorter than usual. Like, it's definitely not gonna be like 4 hours long. Um, but I'm gonna tell you guys about how this happened. So, this is happening to me. This happened because me and my flatmate, she was like, oh, what do you want to have for dinner? And I was like, oh, I'm feeling kind of potato soup. If you've ever had potato soup, you know the best accompaniment to that is some bread, right? And I happened to have this like milk bread, and I was like, you know what, let's just make some like nice garlic bread and eat it with this nice milk bread. So, you know, everyone wins kind of deal. Um, True fashion, we're preparing the soup, the garlic bread's gone in the oven, everything's great, everything's good, life's great. And then I was trying to turn the bread inside the oven around, and I was using the like glove that I got. It's more like it's very thin, so it's not the most effective at protecting you from heat. And no, I didn't get burnt through the glove. I think that my like half of my hand would have been burnt, and it would have been my right hand, not my left. But anyways, the glove was getting super hot, and I for some reason couldn't seem to get the tray back on the rail. So I was just like, oh my god, why is this taking so long? And I low-key started panicking, or more like, I guess it was closer to I low-key started to be like, wait. And, you know, as one does, because we only have one of those silicone gripper things, even though honestly I should have gotten two instead of one. I need to buy new oven mitts, is my conclusion. So in my like haste of I need to like catch the thing, I touched the hot pan with my bare fingies, and it was fine because like I quickly recovered and then washed my hand under some cold water and put on ointment. So honestly, we prevented the worst, frankly. Um, but yeah, eventful, eventful way for somebody to burn their hands. Did I lower the volume of the beat? Yeah, I did. Okay, that's good. Anyways, um, because I had so much potato and bread, it is also making me incredibly sleepy. And I went to find my beloved thumbs up, and I could not. It was just not there. We went to the big market, Mustafa. Um, I ended up like I was also checking out the perfume section because they have like not the best selection, I would say. Like they have a variety of perfumes for very, very much cheaper than if you would buy them retail. It's like wholesale prices almost. So I went there and I bought like 3 different perfumes. They were like for the usual price, they're much cheaper. Um, yeah. Honestly, I wasn't really intending to buy 3. I wanted to buy like 1 or 2 perfumes, but I guess I went a bit crazy and I bought 3. But guess what? I actually bought 4 bottles, but they were 3 different kinds. One of them was just like on sale, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get 2 instead of 1. Because the on sale price applied to 2 of them, not 1. So yeah, I went there. I looked for thumbs up. They didn't have it anywhere. I couldn't find it at least. It was, I guess they moved the aisles around because where I used to go to look for it, it was not there. So I asked a staff member and they were just like, oh, it must be inside the supermarket area. Which, okay, the last time I went inside the supermarket area, I got lost. And I was lost in there for 30 minutes, hobbling around because at that point I'd injured my knee. By that I mean I scraped it and it was like not, it was not like it was super painful, so I couldn't keep my leg fully straight. I needed it to be like a little bit bent so I could feel little to no pain. So I was hobbling around this gigantic market area for like 30 plus minutes, and it was not great. I hated that because I was just exhausted after, and I still couldn't find thumbs up then. And this time I didn't get lost, but I still couldn't find thumbs up this time. But guess what I did find? That they have nutritional yeast in there. Honestly, not that surprised because like that place has everything that you could possibly imagine there could be. I just didn't realize that it would be like right in front of my very eyes. Will I be going there to buy nutritional yeast? Likely not. I feel like I want to go to the big fair price I went to a few months ago where I spent like $70. Oh my god, I'm never gonna recover from that because like holy crap, that was crazy. But it was so much fun. And I really want to do that before my birthday because it just makes me so happy. So I feel like that's like definitely a Saturday or a Sunday morning type of thing. Or I do it Monday morning, which is insane because Mondays are my birthday and I would like to sleep in. So, yeah. Especially since I don't have class next Monday. The teacher's gonna be away for 2 weeks, so we get to play. The students get to play. Anyways, yeah. That's basically it. It's pretty funny that it ended up like this, that I burnt my hand and stabbed a little bit of like I stabbed my finger accidentally, so now both of my hands are kind of out of commission. This doesn't usually happen. I feel like that was a sign, but also it works out because I'm really sleepy. Like I'm already feeling like a real pull from the bottom of my heart to just go lay down in bed and go to sleep because rest is important. And I've been saying, I said this yesterday, but I really have not been like, I always wake up feeling like I haven't slept enough. Not that it's still not restful sleep, like I'll be able to do the whole day like with as if I've gotten like perfect amounts of rest, and that's just how my body functions. It's like it's not that I don't need rest, it's that even a little bit of rest for me goes a long way. But all the potato and bread, all the carbs are making me want to sleep. Which brings me to, how I said I made potato soup. Honestly, potato soup, like the really rustic kind, or the really like simple kind. Rustic is probably a little bit offensive, honestly, to say out loud. The really, really simple kind is so simple that you don't even need to do much. You need carrots, onions, garlic if you have it, potatoes, some herbs, any herbs, dried, doesn't matter, you know, salt, pepper, oil, and if you really so want butter. um Basically what you do when you want to make potato soup is you put some oil, put some butter, let it heat up, put your onions and garlic in, let them sweat, let them get all nice and fragrant, then put your carrots and potatoes, let them do their thing, put in some water, actually your dried herbs, and let them do their thing. I like to add like a teeny bit of mustard so that the flavors combine better, because mustard's a bit tangy, it's a bit vinegary, it's fermented usually, and so that makes it a little bit a good addition because it helps bring balance to all the flavors, because it's like very like starch heavy, especially since later on you add milk or cream depending on what you want. Anyways, after you put in mustard and you let it cook for like 10-15 seconds, you put in water, you put in your broth cube, you just let that cook for a bit, then you add milk, as much or as little as you want, and then you let it cook until the potatoes are all like soft, and then you eat it. Ideally you have it with like a nice thick piece of toast, like really nicely toasted with some like butter or something. I don't know, it really just depends on what you want, but I think doing it with toasted bread is the ideal combination. I personally would have liked to put a bit more, like maybe some style of Italian chili oil or something, or some olive oil on top, or some more fresh herbs. I also put in green onions at the end because I think they would have given a nice bit of freshness, which is what they did, and the food was really good. Predictably, I'm the one who made it, and I also know my recipes well, and I understand how flavor combinations work. But yeah, we also put in a slice of cheese, but honestly you couldn't taste it that much. It was kind of like really, really faint. So yeah, it was pretty good though. I'm just saying, like my hand still is like, actually one of my fingers still really is like burning, even though there's ointment on it. But the ointment, that's the whole point. The ointment draws out like all the burning heat feeling. Um, this ointment is like God. It's literally like, it's so well made, and it works like a goddamn charm. Like if I get tiny burns or even like close to second degree burns, which I think this one is close to a second degree burn, this will bring it down to the level of first or less than a first degree burn, especially if you use it immediately after you've gotten like hurt. This like is, it's magic. I swear there's like drugs in this. There are drugs in this. It works well because it's a drug. It's an ointment. It's an over the counter burn ointment. It's a drug. But yeah, it's funny because like I can't help but I just wanna keep saying I wanna sleep. But I didn't want to stream because I said I would stream, and I really don't like canceling them. It feels like I'm doing something wrong. So that's why I'm here. And instead of like a lot of music making, I think, yeah, I definitely want to talk more about the music stuff. Just make the process. My process, I feel like it's very public now. I'm not really. I mean, I have ways, right? Like, this is one way I write music. There's other ways where I do things on like based on spontaneity. Like if I feel inspired by something, I tend to write my feelings down or write the things that I think of down, because they help me formulate good poetry, which in turn helps me formulate good songs. Um, for me, I think when it comes to writing music, or specifically writing songs, I think doing poetry writing really helps. Like, I was a big poetry gal for a very long time, still am, of course. Um, and I do poetry writing for fun's sake. I used to do it as a bragging thing when I was back in school, because my teachers would be super impressed. Very honestly, I did it in the beginning because I wanted to feel much closer to my teachers, because then I felt like they would appreciate me more. And then it slowly evolved to, I actually really like writing poetry, and I think it helps my writing skill like in general. So some of those things that you do if you want to get better at writing is also reading. If you consume good, well written pieces of media, so I'm even talking about TV shows actually, because somebody has to write that. Like, they have to write the script. They have to think about how to communicate information to you in a way that suits the genre and the media itself. So it's actually really good for you to watch well written TV shows, including, like, I also include articles, gossip pieces, like anything that helps you convey information in a manner that you would like to convey it in, especially in that context. And poetry is part of that, because, like, a lot of early music is just poetry that somebody decided to sing. Bards literally just were poets. All they did was sing to, like, a something, like they're saying the words to something with music. Like, they have music playing in the background, and so that's like an evolution of, like, the modern music that we know, especially coming from an Indian classical background. A lot of it is very poetic, like even the hymns, like the epic poetry, it's all written as poetry, and you can definitely sing it. There's a rhythm, there's a tune to it, because it was supposed to be passed on by oral memory, right? So, like, if you're passing things on via oral tradition, a really, really good way to make sure the other person remembers is pass it in the form of music. That most of the time will outlast the languages that were spoken, the people that wrote those things. It's definitely gonna outlast the people, but it really does. It's more easy to remember than it is to remember, like, stories. Because you can forget stories, but a song, it's really hard to forget a song you've known for your whole life, okay? And it's easy to pass on songs to kids. That's why I feel like, yeah, I tend to write down a lot of poetry, a lot of, like, random quotes, a lot of random thoughts that I have, and they usually form, like, some sort of couplet or something like that. I like writing in couplets when I'm trying to just have fun. I like couplets, that's why. But in general, like, I think poetry is a really good tool to practice writing good rhythms. Because the thing with poetry is, especially since, okay, I've been doing poetry for a very, very long time, like, since I was a very teeny tiny kid, and, in multiple languages, so it's, like, very ingrained in my blood. And I often will start talking in rhyme. So I will be saying things and then the next sentence will rhyme automatically. It usually happens when I'm, like, when I have heightened emotions. But, it's really good because it tells you, like, I really have spent a lot of time just surrounding myself with poetry. And I really enjoy poetry because I studied it for a bit as well. And that was part of my favorite things to do in life, So yeah, I always feel like writing poetry is a really good way to practice writing music, especially if you're not, like, super sure of what to write about. I feel like reading poetry gives you a lot of, like, good context and good, like, inspiration for where to spin and how to spin. If you analyze poetry and you see themes and meanings and how they decided to approach, like, certain topics, how they decided to use these metaphors, visual imagery, all of those things, like, all of them contribute to a much stronger understanding of, oh my god, my voice isn't being picked up that well by my mic, oh my god. Anyways, I increased my gain, but like, all of those things form a much needed and important context to help you write things and communicate your emotions, your thoughts, your actions in a more artistic and creative manner, right? Like, you can't always find a good, like, it's not every single piece of prose is worth reading the same way that not every single piece of poetry is worth reading, but good poets will make you feel things that you didn't even realize you were feeling things about, right? Like, they will talk about topics that hurt people, that, have given them so much pain, but conveyed in a way that makes it so much more, like, it's so much easier to share that pain with other people when it's more arranged. I don't know, it's curated. Like, they're showing you things that you probably wouldn't normally think about, but this is what they were thinking about, and it's such a good way to communicate things. So this is just about songwriting though, and I specifically mean writing lyrics. For melodies, I feel like you just gotta listen to music and try things. yeah, sometimes you hear something and it'll make sense. It's just like a lot of music making is literally just trial and error. There are rules that were made by people who learned through trial and error, and all of those rules apply only in certain contexts. Like, you have the Western classical music context of the side of writing music, and if you're composing for classical, Western classical, the rules that you're following are the ones that they have decided that these rules apply. Same logic applies to this. The things that you apply and you think about when you're writing Western classical music don't necessarily apply when you're trying to write pop, jazz, or maybe you're trying to write some film music, maybe you're trying to write some music for, like you're trying to write some like folk music from like Barcelona or something. Like, the rules of that music are so different. They might have commonalities with other cultures and sentiments and music practices, but they don't necessarily have to have the same exact thought processes. The people have been living different lives and they've been communicating differently, so their music also speaks to everyone else differently. And for what will inform your context of how you make music. Actually, we were talking about this in class today, which is why I feel like this is the perfect time to do this. But yeah, like, it's very interesting because like it's like, of course I wouldn't be writing Indian classical music the same way I would be writing pop. The same logic applies when I'm composing on these streams. Like, I'm just doing something. I frankly don't really have much of a process. It just begins and I just do something, and like, I'm done when I'm done, when I feel like it's over. But I think a lot of music making happens like that. I think the only times where it's like a really more structured process is either one that you have a very specific brief in mind, that you have a very specific idea, you need to execute that and that only, or that you're working with other people where it's very necessary to set boundaries and figure out how you want to communicate about these things. Because like, when you work with other people, there's like only a few ways that you can really achieve making something together. One is like really stream of consciousness, flow of thought kind of thing, where you both are just trying to sound each other out. Multiple people can also work like this. Like, if you're in a band and you're trying to make something together, oftentimes it's just gonna be like, you guys play something and then somebody's like, oh, that sounds good, let's do that, and you just play off of each other's ideas and hopefully come up with something that sounds good. The other approach is usually when it's like more for like a purpose. It's not just for fun, like, I tend to plan stuff out when I have assignments for them. So like, this song that I wrote for this week's assignment song, I know, so weird to say that out loud. I wrote a song for my assignment, which was writing a piece for a performance. So I wrote it and we're gonna perform it on Friday. And I wrote it like, I think Sunday night, but it was like more thought out because I had like things that I needed to pay attention to. Like, if it's genre specific, I feel like you need to think about what you're doing. For some genres, I feel like pop, because it's such an umbrella term, you can do whatever and call it pop and you would still somehow fall within the range of pop. But like, if you're really trying to pinpoint a subgenre, then you have to follow the conventions of the subgenre, which is when like planning things out comes in play. Even then, you have a lot of leeway on how you choose to approach the writing process. Because for me, this time I just like picked chords, and then like I had vague thought about the form of the song, like how many choruses, how many verses, how long do I want it to be. Then I just sat down, thought about the most basic chords, arranged them. I started listening to it and I started like changing stuff where I felt like, okay, it's getting a bit draggy, it's getting a bit boring, it's getting a bit annoying, like I need to fix this, I need to change that, I need to make it sound like it's still coherent. And then once I was like, okay, I feel like I'm vaguely satisfied with this, I started playing around with melodies and lyrics. And once I was kind of satisfied with that, I started rearranging things to see if this suits better. And through that process of trial and errors, when you get to a complete song, which is what I have right now. And even then, like, I was still working on it tonight because I had to finish writing harmonies for it. So I wrote harmonies and then sent it to my classmates for them to learn up so that we can rehearse tomorrow, because we have to perform on Friday. But the process differs. When I'm writing songs just for the sake of writing something, like if I'm writing practice songs, which, you know, sometimes I write those songs and I like them so much that I got, like, you know, I want them to be included in my future releases, or like I want to produce them eventually. But like when you're just, you know, writing for the sake of not rusting out of your skills, which is super important. I think it's important to practice these things, especially if you're somebody who's doing this as a job. Like, I love this job, so I'm okay with doing it, right? But that doesn't mean that because I have skill, that means I should just never practice. Even if it's not like, even if practicing writing sounds a bit backward, I feel like it like does a lot of, it ticks a lot of boxes, because practicing, like, if you practice songwriting and you get some like random topics and start writing songs about them to see how much you can actually expand on your own creative self, it actually really helps. It helps, at least for me. I've been practicing, like, I've been writing practice songs for quite a few number of years, right? Like, from the moment I was like, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life, or like I want to do this as a job, I decided, oh, if I want to do this as a job, I gotta practice and I gotta get good at it. And that also starts with like practicing writing, right? Because if I want to write songs, then I have to practice them. Like, some of these streams also achieve the same purpose, where it's like I'm practicing composition. I know this is for fun, but like if I do it enough times, I get better at it. And the end goal is to keep getting better, not really to just come up with something and hopefully it sounds good. Because the more you do things, even if you do them badly at the beginning, by the end, you're gonna be good. Like, at a point of time, you're gonna go from the threshold of, oh shit, actually this is shit and this is terrible, to, oh, this is not bad, this is decent, this is good. Because our capabilities are only like gonna keep improving. And only when you stop and you just sit there and you just let yourself exist in that space forever, or for the rest of like for like a very, very long period of time, like, you know, like they say for athletes, you have to keep conditioning, you have to keep like practicing, you have to keep like maintaining. The same applies for any discipline, even if it's a creative one, especially if it's a creative one. Because I feel like everyone's creative, okay? Yeah, not everyone can do the creative job, because it's really a lot of mindset stuff, a lot of like, you have to grapple with a lot of different areas of your life to be able to pursue a creative job. But guess what? Everyone's creative in their own way. So like, if you don't practice your creativity, if you don't keep creating, at some point you're not gonna be as competitive. And I know it sounds so bad when I say it like that, but for a musician, that's true. For a dancer, that's true. For a theater actor, it's true. If you do not practice, you're going to be left behind. The times will catch on and you're gonna be left behind. The same applies for writing as well. You know, authors also sit down and practice writing so that they can continue improving, because they're not gonna deliver the same thing for the rest of their life or for the rest of their career. This seems a lot more like a mindset and like a pep talk kind of like discussion, but I really do welcome any dialogue on this. I do love talking to people about mindset stuff, about music, anything. Actually, I'm very open to like listening, you know? But in this case, I feel like for music, it's so important to practice writing. And it's not even just writing lyrics, it's writing melodies, it's writing harmonies, it's doing all of those things. It's doing like practice arrangements, because the same way like a cake artist will do practice cakes. Like, they'll have a dummy cake that they practice piping stuff on, because those skills will rust. Those skills, you have to build them up slowly. And if you stop building them up, and if you just like leave yourself there for the like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, your skills are gonna become rusty. Or if you don't practice, say you wrote one song like 3 years ago, and then you decide, okay, now 3 years later, I'm gonna write a second song. There's no guarantee that your level of writing stays the same, because unfortunately, or well, fortunately in my case, people change. We change every single day, and so to continue to keep up with ourselves, we must make sure our skills that we want to keep with us, we drag along with us in changing for the better. And if you don't do that, like, honestly, the only one who's gonna eat dust is you. Like, this is not a case of, oh my god, the world lost a great researcher or something. Unfortunately not. Persistence pays off. Trying pays off. I know it feels like a lot of work, but even trying for 5, 10, 15 minutes pays off. Even just practicing for 10 minutes every day pays off. Even writing like short, very, very short poetry for practice sessions for writing pays off. Because eventually, not even eventually, you are gonna see the results. You are gonna feel your progress, and that is what it's about in the end. Like, it's really not about being the best, it's about trying to continue becoming better for yourself and finding joy in the process. I don't know, a lot of the music I listen to and a lot of the music that I keep seeing in my like around me is so filled with pain, right? Like, there's like this common like thing where it's like, if you're an artist, you have to like harness your pain, which is true. You do, if you can, make your pain into your art. But a lot of artists tend to chase bad experiences to find something to make art about. But trust me, some of the best art that's gotten made ever, some of the best paintings, plays, songs, they're all coming from a place of happiness, from a place of contentment, from a place of love and kindness, and not from a place of like of just hurt and just pain. There's always hope. And so like, I encourage everyone to not try to go and look for pain, because suffering is going to happen regardless, right? Like, life's gonna be hard. Happiness is a long-term project. You can't have happiness every day of your life, no matter what you do. However, if you look back and you feel like, oh, my life has been pretty good, that's probably because you were mostly happy. You cannot avoid loss, you cannot avoid grief, you cannot avoid suffering, you cannot avoid the bad parts of life. And that's a good thing, because it teaches you to appreciate the good parts of life. Okay, it teaches you to appreciate the people around you. And the same logic applies to making things, creating things. Don't, like, there's no point chasing the pain, because it is going to come to you. Okay, like, you are gonna feel hurt, you are gonna feel pain, and you are gonna be able to use those emotions, your previous ones, whatever comes next for you, in your art. But that does not mean that it's an invitation because you feel like you did so good then when you were in pain and you made something, that you should go continue chasing pain and chasing suffering and chasing bad experiences to make good art. Those are not correlated. Those are not the same thing. People have bad experiences and make horrible art because it's not the experience that gives you good art. It's you, that you create something from your lens, from your context, from wanting more for yourself, that you create something good. Like, genuinely, don't do it to yourself. Why would you want to make life worse for yourself? Are we not sad enough? Is the world not chaotic enough that we must do this? But anyways, moving on. This mindset stuff, it's very important. I highly encourage people to like go check out more like books like The Creative Act and The Artist's Way, because they're all like really, really like good books from people who have been artists for a very, very long time. Like, they are talking about mindsets. They are talking about like when you put yourself in situations where you are unable to create art, when they talk about harnessing your creativity in a more fruitful manner instead of depending on only inspiration when it strikes. Because honestly, inspiration is a slippery little shit. You have to find a way to inspire yourself. You can't wait for external things to come and poke you and like knock at your door and be like, oh, I'm here, I'm your inspiration. Because that honestly does not work. That's not a real thing. Trust. The more external things that you rely on, the easier it is for you to lose your sense of creative worth. Genuinely. There's no other way to say it. It's kind of like this is exactly what happens, you know? It's just a really vicious cycle. Like, you're gonna, you see that you are inspired by something, but realize that not everyone else is inspired by it. Like, it's really because you thought of something, and in that moment you were in the right place at the right time, etc., etc. Like, a lot of coincidence and a lot of like lucky breaks or whatever, a lot of like good vibes for you. But then, you're like, oh, I'll never find anything that inspires me as much, and that's not true. You gotta look for inspiration. Like, you're gonna look outside and then you're gonna look inside, but most of the work is in you. You have to like accept that you're not gonna be amazing all the time, because honestly I feel like that's one of the big roadblocks that I keep hitting is. And then like there's a lot of loops. It's just a loop, like every single thing that you do, and it's just like it goes around in a loop. Especially mindset, like fixing your mindset or improving your mindset type of stuff. It's just like you're gonna walk around in a loop, and it looks like you're just walking around in a circle, but honestly you're just going deeper down to the heart of the, like, whatever the issue is that you feel is stopping you from doing what you want. And eventually you're gonna reach the very top, and you're gonna be like, okay, I've overcome every single challenge that I have put on myself. I've overcome every single roadblock I've added to my life, and it's gonna be great. But it's a long road till there, and it's worth it. So I don't think I'm making much sense. Frankly, I'm half asleep. It's like I'm awake, but my brain is like really crying for sleep. But my point still stands. A lot of these books, especially The Artist's Way, it's really like challenging you to rethink how you think of art, rethink of how you think of creativity, rethink of what you think about when you make things. I said think so many times. I should have had a counter on that. Somebody count that. But yeah, like it's really important to be like, have good influences around you, and have, good, what's the word again? I'm trying to think of the word. Have good support systems, have good energies, have good people who are definitely better at being at the mindset stuff than you are. Because, if you are okay with feeling jealous and envious of them, which is gonna happen regardless, it's a very human emotion to have, then, like, after a while of being jealous, you're gonna try to see, or hopefully unconsciously observe them, and try to imbibe yourself with the same kind of practices that they're following, or similar thought processes. It's helpful. Observing people is a great way to learn things that you didn't know before. Because, like, the same logic applies if you go to a new restaurant and try a cuisine you've never tried before. Like, if you go to a Subway and you've never gone to a Subway before, right? And this is your first time ordering this custom sandwich thing, and you have no idea what's going on. You're like, oh my god, what? You're gonna go in there and somebody's gonna be ordering things, and you're gonna look at them and what they do, and you're probably gonna follow the same process because somebody else was doing it and they know what they're doing. So obviously they have more information than you do, and instead of having to figure it out by yourself, you get this information by somebody who's already done the trial and error in front of you. So it's a good way to learn things from other people. This is why when you get like teachings from a teacher, like if a teacher is teaching you, you can like avoid a lot of the mistakes that they've made because they're telling you about it. Like, oh, these are the things that I feel like I struggle with. This is how I solve those problems. So if you ever have any similar problems, you're gonna think, oh my god, my teacher told me about this. Same logic applies. If you have people around you who are good problem solvers, who are, really like, they're go-getters, they're like making things easier for themselves, they're finding ways around their problems, and they're finding solutions to other people's problems, they're, overcoming challenges with much more ease than you are, then maybe you're supposed to ask yourself, like, what are they doing? And how do I do that? And then observe them and you'll figure it out. Or not. Just ask them. If you're close enough, asking them works. Okay? I'm just saying. I talk to a lot of random people for this exact reason. Other than the fact that I have a problem and I cannot stop talking to random people, this works. Like, I've gotten so many good life lessons, and I've learned so much from people I don't know. I don't know them. I don't know their names. I've never really actually met them. I've maybe talked to them once on the street, but they will say things and they will teach you things that maybe you wouldn't have learned unless you hit a wall, unless you had an accident, unless you made a big, huge mistake. And avoiding those seems pretty goddamn worth it to me. So, yeah, this is just mindset stuff. Back to music stuff. You know, I know people say that music theory isn't important, and on some level it's not, because all the people who know music theory eventually decide to break those rules and do things that are just based on how they feel and how they perceive the music and how the music should make people feel. So it's a lot more intuition based after a while. But the reason why people still say that you should know music theory, it's because it's easier to communicate. This is something that I have noticed more as time goes on, right? And I'm working with more people in a professional capacity. Like, I'm working with them as a professional, and I'm working with them from the lens of a professional, or they're working with me expecting me to be a professional. When you don't speak the language, it is very hard to communicate with each other. When you don't understand, oh, there's this chord, or a 1-6-4-5, or like a flat 2 7, all of those things, if they sound foreign, and nothing is wrong with that, but if you want more people to work with you in a professional capacity and treat you like an equal, that also means being able to communicate your intentions and thought process like in a manner that is available to everyone. I think that's one of those things that music theory allows you to do. Knowing those concepts, knowing the right terminology, knowing like all of those things makes it so that when you're trying to communicate this idea you have, you are able to communicate it much more succinctly, you know, and you can like skip the process where you're trying to explain to them and they have no idea what's going on, and you don't know how to explain it much better anyways. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, it sounds like this, like it's supposed to sound like a little bit happy, sad, like a little bit, you know, like melancholy. Like, instead of guessing what you might mean and doing a lot more work and extending the process, and maybe in turn losing some of that creative drive and spark that might be happening in the moment of this creation. Like, instead of saying that, and if you go, oh, like, oh, I want a 1 major and then a 1 minor and then a this and this, like, do you guys get what I mean? Like, I've noticed this a lot more, because now I expect people around me to communicate in a more clear, concise, and professional manner. And professionalism often just means using the right words, like, that we both understand. It's not something that only you understand, it's something that we both understand, that we're on the same page. It's the same reason why if you're from a certain institution and you know that there's a lot of people who go to this institution for this specific thing. Like, if you're an MIT grad, you have the name on you. But most importantly, when you meet other MIT grads, you guys have a language that other people are not speaking, because the context is only for you. Same logic applies if you're somebody who's working in the professional field of, say, engineering, and you don't know the terms that other engineers use, you're not gonna be invited to the places that you want to be at. It applies for literally every single discipline. That's why if you want to be an engineer, you go to school for it. Like, yeah, there's a lot of homegrown people, and they're famous now. But guess what? They're also using the same terms. Now that information is so much more accessible, you have to take advantage of that to arm yourself, but more likely give yourself the information that everyone else has. Right? Even musicians who are well established, musicians who are in the process of becoming like professionals, or people who are musicians who are in school for music, they also have things they don't know. But the thing is, the information gap is so much smaller because they know the terms. So they can look for the right, they have the right questions, so they can get the right answers. But if you don't even have the words to ask a question, you are never gonna get to the answer. Or at least it will be significantly harder. So it's not like you have to know everything by like, you know, like you have to know it that, oh my god, if suddenly somebody ambushed you, like a master jazz musician ambushed you and was like, do you know this chord? Sometimes you don't know, and that's fine, because they're a jazz musician and they come up with the most insane and like absolutely stupid chords. Like, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes they don't even sound good. It's only in their context that it sounds like it's supposed to be there. But the thing is, no one's gonna do that unless you're a jazz musician, and at that point, yes, you should know. At some point, people around you are gonna say things, and if you don't understand, it's not that you look dumb, it's just that you'll never be invited, because people are finding it hard to communicate their intentions and their like thought process to you. And if you don't understand, how do you expect to communicate your own thought process and your own intentions to them? Same logic applies to composition, like any kind of interaction with composers, engineers, interactions with producers. Honestly, producers, like back in the day, they used to be more of like a head, like a management thing, where they're like saying yes to some things, saying no to some things, finding the right people for the stuff that you want as an artist. But nowadays, producers are more like everything. They're the mix engineer, they're the sound engineer, they're like, you know, sometimes they're also the artist, sometimes they're just people who have a place where you can make things and they help you do that. Like Rick Rubin is a producer, right? He's not a mix engineer, he's not a sound engineer, he's not the guy you're gonna call if you want him to play like piano solos, some sort of crazy jazz stuff. But he is the guy you're gonna call if you're like, I'm not sure what I'm doing, I need somebody to put me in the right direction. Like, I have all these cool ideas, but I don't know how they're supposed to be arranged. He's the guy you're gonna call. Why? Because he has one experience in doing that exact thing of setting you on the right path, connecting you with the right people, and pulling out the right ideas. Like, one of those things that he's famous for is you'll show up and you'll show him all these things and he's gonna be like, okay, so that sounds good. Why don't you try this thing with that style? And you know what? He probably knows a lot more than you think he does. And he's probably gonna give you and set you on the path that will blow you up. Literally. But that's one of the things he's famous for, that he's a people person. He doesn't necessarily have to know everything about music, but just enough to communicate his intentions and his thought processes. Like, because I remember watching this one, like, singer, I was super impressed by her voice and I was super impressed by her compositions. And then I listened to some of the stuff that she was talking about when she was talking about, oh, this is how I made it. And without having this like person who was next to me helping me do all these things, I feel like we would have never gotten to the point where I finished this. And it was literally from a lack of, I can't communicate with them because I don't know the terminology. I don't know what I'm asking for. I don't know the word for what I'm asking for. And if that is the case, that process is like 5 times longer. Trust, it has literally happened to me not even that long ago. Not being able to communicate with other people is something that you have to fix, because if it literally applies to any discipline though, nowadays knowledge is frankly so easy to access for any discipline that you could just go online, look it up, and you'll find dozens of people giving you information that you would not have gotten unless you were in the industry like 20 years ago, right? So take advantage of that and make yourself educated, make yourself able to communicate with other people in your industry, in your like workplace, in your whatever it is that you want to do. Whether it's be a musician and a designer, or it's just be a musician and maybe hopefully do collaborations with other people. But that's something really important to do. And I know this is like a side tangent, but sort of related. Like, it's become really popular to do music by yourself. And we're slowly but surely going back to the whole let's make music with other people thing. But like in the transition period is when people are still like gonna hang on to that. But I say, like, learn how to work with other people, because that is so important. Even if you're not even if you're not doing music, okay? Any discipline, anywhere in the world, learning how to talk to other people, learning how to work with other people, learning how to like exist around other people will give you an edge in life that nothing else will. There are so many people who I've worked with personally. You know, I'm performing with them, or I'm writing music with them, or attending class with them, and I'll just be like, wow, they are they are like not very fun to work with. Even if they're really good people, even if they're very funny people, even if we hang out outside of those work context, I wouldn't work with them because they don't know how to work with other people. And that makes working with them absolute torture. And no one wants to be tortured at work. Even if you're getting paid thousands of dollars for it, I assure you, you're not going to want to be tortured at work. At some point, you're going to be like, actually, this sucks. Let me just go do something else somewhere else. Like, no matter how much someone loves you, actually, you know what, I'll say it. For some people, even if they were horrible, I would deal with it because I love them. And I would find ways to reach out to them in ways that they understand instead of trying to adapt them to the way that I would work. But if you're working with a professional in their industry, and that's also somehow your industry, learn how to work with people. Because goddamn, no one is gonna entertain bad behavior and bad social skills in a work context. Because everyone is here to do a good job, and if you prevent that, you are public enemy number one. And if they don't want to do a good job, well, that's honestly their problem. At some point, you gotta reevaluate, like, is it worth doing things with them because they don't even care about what you're doing? That's another side note. This is a lot of like weirdly mindset related stuff, but I'm gonna go back to music stuff. Recently, while trying to write the song that I wrote for this week, and actually even the song I wrote for last week, I feel like the value of like mumble singing is increasing exponentially. Sometimes all you gotta do when you're trying to write a melody is just like say nonsense syllables and just try to come up with something. Because like even if you cannot figure out the words for the song, at least you have like the tune, something that you can grasp onto while you try to formulate a good story to accompany that tune. And sometimes it happens to be that you will write a whole story in your head, but it will never translate onto paper. Like it will never be written down because it's just not something that's feasible for you at the moment. I assure you, you should record that. Like save it for later. I never throw away anything at all when I'm writing. Like even if it's just a stupid one-liner that I wrote down, it will stay with me till the end of time because you literally never know when that exact thing will be of use to you. This literally happened like a few weeks ago where I was trying to write this song. This was not for an assignment. It was just for like, I wanted to write a song about XYZ. So I was trying to write a song about XYZ. And I wrote like a few lines and then I left them. And then there was another piece that I did in like previously, a few lines, literally just a few lines. And I was showing it to my teacher and she was like, you know what? Those two fit so well together. I think they're meant to be together. And that's what I mean. Even writers, even artists, they would like, okay, artists, I don't know about people who draw and paint and make things like with their hands. I don't know if they throw away things or not, but I know writers do not. Like most writers will save deleted scenes, will save, anything that they've cut away in a specific, like, they'll designate this document is for my offshoots, like for my offcuts, for my things that I wrote down but I didn't end up using in my final thing, because those things are useful because you never know what idea might fit where in your process. So why throw away things when they can be reused? It's kind of like recycle, like someone's garbage is another, like someone else's treasure type of thing, but like it's your garbage that you decided to like be like, okay, I'm gonna set it aside, I'm gonna hoard this because I literally don't know when this will come in use. And the thing is, it often will. Sometimes those ideas don't fit in certain places because they're not meant to be there, but sometimes it's just like, okay, I feel like you subconsciously know this idea will work better somewhere else and you're just waiting for that to show up. And it works. It's happened to me so many times, not even the first time. I will literally write down like 3 lines and then leave them there, and then a few weeks later I'll be able to write a whole song from those 3 lines. Sometimes I'll write like half of a song and leave it there and it will never be completed, but sometimes it's like I'll write another song that has half of it there and this song fits perfectly with that other song, and like, that's how they get complete. It works so well. So my personal advice to people is to not throw away their ideas. Like even if you have like 2 lines or like 2 notes for a melody, or if you have like one short phrase that you want to record, just record it, just keep it there. Even if you can't like write it down, like you can't put it on a score, you don't know how to transcribe, you can't figure out what the chords are, like it doesn't matter. Just sing it, just record it from somewhere, somehow. And eventually you're gonna reach a point where you know what that is and you're gonna be able to use it. It's useful. It also sets a good goal for you to have, like, motivate yourself towards. Small things often motivate us more than the big things, because the big things, you know, they feel so far away. This is a goal setting thing, by the way. If you're setting goals for yourself and you have one big goal and nothing in between, that big goal is going to feel so much further away and it's going to take you so much longer to get to than if you just had small goals that lead towards the big goal, right? And this is common knowledge, or at least I hope it's common knowledge. And if it is not, I'm glad I'm able to like give you some more knowledge. Hopefully you can use that. But a good thing when you're setting goals or when you're trying to form expectations for yourself is look for small progress. Okay? We're not built to look at things in long term. Very honestly. As humans, and especially in this day and age, it's kind of just like today, in the next few hours. What's happening tomorrow? Who the hell knows? You know? You cannot look towards 5 years in the future and accurately predict what's going to happen, because that's not something that's possible, right? You are going to change every single day, and that will impact how your future changes with you. So that big goal that you're chasing, it's much more helpful if you set smaller goals for yourself that are very like reachable, that are actionable, that feel very like easy to get to. Why? Because it gives you enough interest and motivation and courage and hope to keep going towards the big goal you have in mind. As an example, if you're trying to get into like this really super big college and your GPA is in shambles, right? Your goal should not be get my GPA to 5.0. That's the big goal. That's not the only goal that you should have. It should be like, oh, I want to improve this assignment. I want to improve it. My grade in that. Like, oh, the next assignment I submit, I want to get a B- instead of a D, you know, or a C+ instead of a D. Like, those small things that are actually achievable in a short term give us enough dopamine and energy and excitement to keep going towards the big goal. And that's so important, no matter what you're working on. Like, even if it's a big project and you're like, oh my god, the big goal of this project is to make like $1 million, right? If you focus on just $1 million, you're gonna feel like you're never gonna get to it. And that in itself kills your motivation and your intention to go towards it. Like, we are literally our biggest, like, haters. Genuinely. It is very easy to convince yourself that what you're doing is not working for you, even if you are not seeing that it is. It is very hard to see the small progress. And so we are expecting ourselves to, like, become like, oh, I was really shit at writing down pretty things, and now suddenly I am the best. But the thing is, you're not gonna get to it in one night. So you need to learn how to recognize those small things and like find those points where you're like, okay, this makes me happy, and so I'm gonna call this my next checkpoint. Hi, EXO. How you doing? Are my fingers okay? Yeah, I have ointment on. They should be fine by tomorrow. I reacted pretty quickly. I didn't burn them that badly. They're like close to a 2nd degree burn. But because I reacted quickly, they will be fine. I feel like I'm like a drill instructor today. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. You know what I am happy about though? I sent all the stuff to my classmates that I was supposed to today and not tomorrow. Because if I send that to them tomorrow, they're gonna be actually like, oh my god, Mew, how could you take so long? To be fair though, they don't have to do that much. Like, I sent them the main stuff. I just didn't send the side stuff. That was also important, but we could have figured it out tomorrow. It's not even that difficult to sing. This tea is so good. Thank golly goodness. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't burn myself too badly. I really wouldn't have wanted to go to a doctor. Also because I wouldn't have gone. very honestly, I've burnt myself so many times that I'm like, I feel like I'm so experienced. The only thing I haven't gotten is a 3rd degree burn. And so if I did ever get a 3rd degree burn, I would immediately go to the hospital because the treatment methods for a 3rd degree burn are not the same as a 1st and a 2nd degree burn. So I wouldn't want to wrap my head around it. But yeah, a 1st and 2nd degree burn, easy. I can handle it. Been there, done that. No, but wait, I think I have gotten a 3rd degree burn once in my life. I'm pretty sure we did go to the doctor then. We did go to the doctor. I don't remember. It was too long ago and I was too young. It was like 9 years ago at least. Wait, no. 9, 10, 11. Huh? Wait, what? Yeah, it was at least 12 years ago. Not 9, 12. That's a decade and some. What the heck? I don't know how to count, apparently. Or at least I cannot do mental maths when I'm this, like, sleepy. Do you guys want me to drop my recipe for my potato soup, which I found online? I didn't even follow the recipe in the end. I just looked at it for the ingredients. It was just... What did I say? It was onions, garlic, spring onion whites, carrots, celery, so like basically mirepoix, and then I sauteed it with some onions and garlic on top, and then put in my roughly chopped up potatoes and carrots and let those saute for a bit in a mixture of oil and butter, which is like a super good tip, by the way, if you're like craving buttery goodness but you don't want to burn your butter, put some oil in it, like any kind of oil. So it works. It makes sure the butter doesn't burn, but you still have like the good milk fat flavor. You know what I mean? And then I sauteed it, put some like dried herbs, and then sauteed that a bit. I also put in a bit of mustard, and then let it sit for a bit, and then put in water, a bouillon cube. I was gonna say chicken bouillon cube. Some of them are actually vegan, so I don't know. I didn't get the chicken ones. I usually get the vegetable ones. I am unfortunately not a chicken eater. Well, fortunately. Fortunately. Oh my god, did I tell you guys? Okay, let me finish the recipe and then I will tell you guys about this place I went to a few days ago. So, what did I say? Where did I stop at? Water, the bouillon cube. Let that dissolve and cook for a bit, then put in some milk and let that cook for a bit. And if you fancy yourself some cheese, drop that in as well. I recommend cheddar. Or like something like savory and that like melts into sauces easily. I don't think mozzarella is a good one. I feel like that would get really stringy very easily. And then just serve it to yourself with some bread. Bread's the right move. I don't think you'd want to have this with rice. Unless, you put in like a lot of what is the word for that? Good lord. Unless you put in a lot of chili flakes. I feel like it'd be good with rice if there was more spice in it. You only have it when you're sick and unwell. Honestly, that's so real. I feel like this would be so good for when you're sick. I just made it because I wanted to eat some potato soup. I was suddenly like, oh, I have all these potatoes I need to use up. There's like one more potato, I believe, in my potato stash, but I'm gonna use that. Maybe tomorrow, I'm gonna make like something. I don't know what, with potatoes. My brain is not working that well about anything anymore. It's a sign. I'm gonna sleep soon, it's fine. I'll get ample sleep. Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you guys about... So I went to this place that does like vegetarian chicken rice, right? And they had like, okay, so me and one of my friends went there because I was like, I really want to try this, and we were going out anyways and we were gonna have lunch together, so I was like, let's go to this place because it'll be fun. First of all, the food was super cheap, which I was so happy about, and there was like a really good portion, so I had like half of it for lunch and then half of it for dinner. But this is on the day that I talked for so long that I was like, I cannot sing. So yeah, I spent like almost 8 hours with my friends, so like no wonder. But so like we go there, we sit down, we order our food, and honestly, after looking at it, I was like, holy shit, it actually looks kind of like real chicken. And my friend goes like, yeah, it actually tastes so good. Like, it's not like fully chicken-like, but it's pretty dang close. And I was like, yes, thank you. It's not that I really crave eating meat, but I wanted to try like somewhat more authentic chicken rice here. That's also vegetarian somehow. I know this sounds so like random and backward. It does not sound like it's supposed to be like that, but I'm vegetarian. I refuse to go eat meat for this nonsense reason. Also because I wouldn't be able to take it. Like, I genuinely dislike meat enough to not want to have it even when given the opportunity to. So yeah, so we go eat there, and you know, like, there were all these people who were ordering these gigantic bowls of noodles, and I cannot explain to you guys how good the noodles looked. And I was like, oh my god, if only we were both a little bit good at eating, better at eating more food, because both me and my friend have like about the similar amounts of appetites, so like we both eat quite small portions. So like, no, but she finished her like entire thing of chicken, not her rice though. She left like half the rice, but I decided to take away mine, like half of the chicken, half of the rice, so I could eat it later, because I was like, I might as well, I don't want to waste it. But this is where it gets like really funny, because she was also like, those noodles look so good. And I was like, if only we were like less, if we had a little bit more stomach space, I'd have been like, let's order one bowl and share it. I think we can finish it if we share it. Next time I go there, which is, it might literally be tomorrow, I really am tempted just suddenly to go there and have the noodles, because they just looked so good. Dreaming about those noodles, I swear. But yeah, those noodles look so freaking good, oh my god. Sorry, I'm suddenly just only thinking about noodles. I actually might be able to go tomorrow if I play my cards right. Like, I could go in the middle of the day. I have like this 2-hour period tomorrow that I'm not really doing much. And I could go and have those noodles and come back to campus. Because I have class at like 5 to 7. And then I have class from 1 to 3. And then 5 to 7. And there's this 3 to 5 period that has nothing going on. Technically, I'm supposed to have class then. But that professor was like, you know what, there's too many of you, and in this ensemble class, I can't have so many of you in the same room. You guys talk too much. So he split us up into 2 groups. It's pretty good, I'd say. I'm not mad at all. so yeah. It's pretty funny. Do you guys think I should do that? This is like a total tangent from the music-related conversation that I was planning to have, which already had tangented to something else, so it doesn't matter. This is quite standard for me. But I suddenly really want to eat those noodles. Also because, okay, you know how yesterday I said that I had those like specific type of noodles that I would get at mala places, and I bought a pack of similar ones, and they tasted so good that I ate them completely just boiled with no seasoning, just boiled noodles? I've done that a lot. I used to do that a lot when I was like I do that a lot with pasta. Have you guys ever just had like freshly boiled pasta? And it's boiled in like really well salted water, so it's like really salty and delicious. It's so good. This the brand of pasta that I've been buying is so good to eat like that. Like, you just boil it and it's like, you don't even need anything. You just salt, water, pasta. You drain it and I love that. I used to do that a lot actually when I was younger. Nowadays it's less because I have more access to random shit I like more somehow. Hello. But yeah, it's so good. I recommend. 10 out of 10. It's like some of the best things I've had in life are just these. And my favorite kind of like easy meal is actually just like put stuff in a pot and cook it. And usually it's something my mom calls your pasta water. It's not just my pasta water. It's like water. And if you have a broth cube, just shove that in there. Some soy sauce, sesame oil, salt. If you want to, you can put in garlic and ginger. I don't care most of the time. I just do water, soy sauce, and sesame oil and boil it with pasta. Any noodle, honestly. And once the noodle's cooked, you can eat it. It's that simple. And it's so good. It tastes really, really good. It's like a very light flavor, but it's very pleasant. Like, it's very digestible. It's like the kind of meal you'd want to have when you really can't think of anything else and you're just like, I just want to eat something. Or like, I'm super hungry. Because it honestly only takes the amount of time to cook that you need, that your noodles would take. Everything else is like fully done. You don't need to let it simmer unless you want it to be like mushier. And that is like such a good thing. A lot of the food that I like eating ends up being the ones that's the easiest to cook. Other than that, it's usually pasta or pizza. And like, obviously, I have my favorites for Indian food and whatnot, but if I'm cooking and I'm the one who's to cook for myself and feed myself, it's usually things that are the easiest and that taste the best. That includes eating instant noodles though. Somehow I eat a lot of instant noodles. At home, it's not like that, funnily enough. At home, I eat a lot healthier. Even right now, I guess I'm still eating pretty healthy because I make like very or kind of well-balanced meals. I do not think potato soup with garlic bread with cheese is the most healthiest meal, but guess what? It tasted very good and it had vegetables. It has fiber, it has fat, it has vitamins and minerals, it has protein and carbohydrates. I don't think you can ask for much more. Also, it was really filling. Like, I feel like the 2 portions I made and the portion I have left, I could eat that and I would be extremely full. So, I'll tell you what, it works. But it was so good. I honestly had like a moment where I was thinking, oh my god, you know what would be so good if I put some pasta in this and then just boiled it and just ate it like that. But it's like chicken noodle soup, but it's actually not chicken noodle. It's just potato soup with noodle. I know that does not sound the best. I gotta say, it does not sound the best. Why would I say... Now this image in my head is like not tasty. Yikes. Anyways. Music. What else? Is there anything you guys want to like listen to me talk about? I'm like not awake enough for this thinking stuff. I think you can find inspiration from like very unconventional places. Like a lot of musicians unconsciously tune themselves to their surroundings, right? Like you'll hear a lot of like sounds in your surroundings. I think it's very common with people who tend to sample a lot. I've noticed that with my like electronic music classmates. Like they'll be listening to stuff around them and like talking about it or thinking about it and using it as like reference or sampling it. And that's a good thing. It's good to be aware of what's around you because that is already such like a close source of inspiration. Like if you are someone who tends to go on a lot of walks, I recommend sometimes just listening to what's going on instead of putting on headphones. I often, especially when I'm going to buy groceries, even if I'm not alone, or like even if I am alone, I will forgo the earphones and just listen to the sounds around me. It's just a good practice. It's good like break for your ears as well because we're constantly as musicians bombarded with so much music related information and so much music that it's really important to give yourself a break every once in a while, especially to refresh your brain. And that's also a good advice to take for when you're making stuff. Any kind of thing, literally, like you could be making like a painting. You have to take a break after a while. Just let your eyes stay away from that. So you can come back in like 15-20 minutes with a fresh perspective. Same applies to music. If you've been working on a piece for like say 2 hours and you feel like, oh my god, I'm stuck now, I'm not going anywhere with this, like it just feels like I'm getting annoyed by it. It's time to step back, do something else for a bit, let your brain get a little bit of a refresh, let your ears have a bit of a break. Because your ears have gotten so used to the sound of what you're making, they are unable to distinguish it from anything else. They're unable to provide good context and good information, or new thought processes, new thoughts. You've gotten yourself stuck in a loop. The best way to do that is literally just to leave it there, come back to it later. For some people, it's like they would take a day or two away from it, especially if you've been working on it for like a few days. It's good to take a longer break. If you've been working on it for a few hours and you're like, okay, I feel like this is getting a bit exhausting, it's time to put it down. Maybe go take a walk, maybe like watch something else, listen to something else, do something else, engage with other things instead of music or making music, because that is a lot of work. And you're right, it does get overwhelming. That's why I do take a lot of breaks when I'm making music, because it's good to come back with a fresh perspective every like hour or so. It's like, take a 5-minute break, go do something else for a bit, talk about something else, think about something else. When you come back, you're gonna feel a lot more refreshed, and definitely your brain is gonna be a lot more willing to provide more information and provide more like good ideas for you to use, instead of just being like, oh my god, I'm stuck in a rut. It sucks, but it is like that. Our brains are not built for so much effort for such long periods of time. It's good to relax a bit, it's good to take a break, it's good to like stay away from it for a bit, because when you come back, your brain is gonna be like, oh my god, new thing, let's think about it. Context of information is very important. Or the same logic applies. Sometimes you like, instead of showing your music to someone who is a musician, someone who's a professional, somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of music or whatever art form, because honestly I feel like a lot of this advice, a lot of what I'm saying is very applicable to most things, but I think for art especially, actually for music specifically, because I'm a musician first and everything else second, like I think at least I'm equally a lot of things, but in this context I'm trying to be a musician first. But yeah, for a musician, sometimes it's good to let like somebody who has no idea what's going on in the music, like they don't know the chords, they don't understand what harmonies are, they don't understand, they're just like, this sounds good, this doesn't sound good, like somebody who is just literally just is talking from the perspective of a pure listener, pure audience perspective. Because most musicians, right, like I try to enjoy performances and songs first as an audience member, and try to get the perspective of audience, and then try to like recall what I think as a musician, as a professional, I would be pointing out or I would be thinking about. But the context of just pure audience is so important. Like if you've written a song and you're like, oh my god, this sounds so good, and you show it to a musician and they're like, oh, that's what you used, I feel like I would have used this XYZ thing, or I would have improved it like this. But the thing is, if your audience thinks that's too high level, it is literally lost on them. If they don't care about the difference, it's lost on them, then it does not matter. It just matters on what you think sounds better. And this is coming from a very commercial perspective, but in this world, unfortunately, we have to be pure. Like sometimes we have to think about commerciality more than artistic practice and intention. But also, people around you who might not know much about your work or who might not engage with it the same way you do might have perspective that you cannot access because you have too much knowledge about it. The thing about being just a listener sometimes is that you will get reactions from them that you would not get from other people in your industry because you guys know too much about it. The same way, if you know too much about the technicalities of painting and you go look at somebody's painting, you might focus more on the technicalities and techniques and like color mixing and light, the reproduction of light, stuff like that, instead of thinking of how does it look and what does it make me feel, and does it look good or does it look bad? Like what is the intention that a just an audience member would have and be receiving? That's also super important. That's why it's good to have friends who are not in the industry. Sometimes you just want people to listen to something and be like, oh, I like this, but I feel like this part was super weird and I don't understand what's happening. That in itself is sometimes good information for you to be like, okay, I see. And that also gives you new perspectives. A lot of the thing with creating things is that you need different perspectives on it. Your own, of course, is something that is propelling it and pushing it forward, and it's the most important one in any situation, especially when you're creating. But when you're asking for feedback, you have to realize people are going to talk from their perspective, and they're going to tell you from their experience and their life, and it's nothing personal most of the time. It's literally just like, oh, I thought of this, and that's the end of it. It's not like I thought of this and you didn't think of this, so therefore you are wrong. None of that exists. Seriously, it's not that deep. But that is new context and new information and a new way to look at what you've made. And sometimes that gives you a lot more good ways to proceed with it, or good ideas on how to complete it, or literally it can give you more things to draw upon when you next make something. You know what I mean? But yeah, the more widespread that you can make a message, I guess commercially it's the nicer way to live life. It's hard to do that though. Everyone's trying to make the next best thing since Taylor Swift, which is like a lot of other artists are the next best thing since Taylor Swift. I don't know. I couldn't find a better analogy. There's no real comparison, honestly. Everyone deserves a seat at the table, and everyone is a part of the world, and your voice is gonna matter to someone, even if it's just one person. And if it's one more person than you, that's also really cool. And even if it's just you, that's still really cool. If you can resonate with yourself, I assure you, you're not gonna be alone in resonating with whatever you are trying to convey to other people. We are not unique. Not in experiences. Everyone's gonna have something similar, something they feel like that has happened to them that will connect them to something that you make. Most people, at least, will find a way to connect. We're like very pack bonding, very like tribe characteristic type of people. So it works out in our favor though, especially when it comes to the context of art. It's like, it's really good that people want to connect to even the most strangest things, like Roombas and cups and mugs and random fruits and vegetables that are gonna be eaten, right? Like, it's a good thing that that's a thing that happens to humans, because that is your audience, fortunately. So it's good that they connect to even the strangest little things. And you gotta accept that and just live with that and be happy that it's so easy. A lot of learning to do things is just doing them. Like, no matter how much you prepare for it, sometimes doing the thing is the best way to do it. Like, okay, as an example, no matter how much you read and prepare to play an instrument, and you learn the theory of it, you learn all the right techniques, but if you go and play the instrument and you cannot apply any of those theories and techniques, it's lost on you. So sometimes the best way to learn things is by doing them, and a lot of that in art happens to be true. Like, literally almost all of it. No matter how much I read about music theory and I know about music theory and I know about writing melodies, if I can't actually write a successful melody, by that I mean a complete melody, all that knowledge is kind of useless. So if you're always stuck on the starting line going like, I need to prepare more, you need to learn how to start more. I literally throw myself in things all the time. I impulsively start things when they interest me. I'll do like a cursory, okay, this is the information I need to start something, and start it. Because sometimes the process of learning about it is the most important part, is the part that's gonna get you places. And that happens to be in it's in learning new skills in your discipline as well. Like, if you're a producer and you're trying to learn how to use this XYZ type of synthesizer, sometimes it's better to just like shove yourself in it and just use one. You know, like fuck around and find out kind of wise. It works. So that's why you should sometimes just not overthink and just do the thing. You'll learn in the process of doing it. You'll find solutions you didn't think of before. You'll like literally avoid problems other people were having because you have your own unique perspective to give to your learning method. This is something I learned from one of my mentors. I guess she was my mentor. She was like my teacher for a little bit, and she is my friend now. But this is something I learned from her, because she often does this. Like, a lot of the things that she's learned in life about her practice, about music and about making music and stuff like that, is from things that she was just doing and didn't realize that they actually had methods to do those things. And yeah, knowing those things would have helped, but she didn't even know how to how to ask the right questions. So just doing them and just trying to like do the thing that she wanted to made it so that she learned how to do those things. So you guys, like, it's literally a case of just do it and you'll learn in the process of it. And it happens to be like that for a lot of different musicians, that they just do things and they learn in the process of it. Like, if you're trying to produce a song, instead of like watching a dozen YouTube videos, I encourage that you just start trying to produce a song and watch YouTube videos while you're doing it. Supplement your own experience with more knowledge. But just watching videos won't magically make you a producer, the same way that just watching somebody else make music won't magically make you able to make music. Like, you have to do it to be able to like actually do it. I feel like I talk a lot. I'm saying it after I've talked for like how many? Hour and a half for 90, almost 90 minutes. That's crazy. It's like 1 a.m. now, okay? I'm gonna call it for today. I'm very sleepy and I want to talk to my mom, and I have like an hour-long thingy happen before I go to sleep, so hello internet, hello to you too. Am I the internet? The entire internet? Damn it, goodbye internet! Oh, that's so funny. I love that for you. It's okay, I'm not going for another 15 minutes. You're good. You're good, don't worry. This is so funny. But anyways. Oh, you guys can't see me making this like really stupid what's the word? Thumbs up. My brain is straight up lagging. Also, the AC is off, so it's like making me feel extra warm. I turned it off earlier because it was really cold. Okay? I have to let you know, I've been cold for the past 3 days because the weather's been so whack. You would not believe how cold it has been. Literally we were like, I went out to buy milk for the potato soup, and I also bought yeast because I'm gonna make bread tomorrow morning or tomorrow at night. Either way, I'm gonna make bread soon because I finally got the thingies, the measuring cups and spoons and things. So I got yeast and I want to make bread, and I know the recipe for single serving focaccia, so like, sign me up. Anyways, that's secondary to what I was trying to say. I go downstairs, it's like 7:45, okay, p.m. And this is, for context, it was so hot in the daytime. Like, okay, it wasn't that hot when I left the house, but I know it was hot because my flatmate came back sweating. Like, she literally just dunked herself in a pool. So it was hot, apparently. When I left the house, it was kind of pleasant because the breeze was blowing and whatever. But like, every single time I'd go under the sun, I'd literally be like, oh my god, this is so warm. Anyways, so I leave the house at like 7:45, right? Like, and I go downstairs and it's like a nice breeze is blowing. It's like very pleasant weather. It's almost like you're almost cold. This is the kind of weather I like, where it's like I don't really need to wear a jacket, but if it were a little bit colder, I'd wear one. And if it were a little bit hotter, it'd still be like very pleasant weather. Unfortunately, in Singapore, it really is almost never this pleasant. However, 2 days ago, it rained like crazy. Like on Monday morning, it was an insane rain. I don't know what happened. I did not want to leave the house because of that, because it was raining so bad and it was so freaking cold. Okay, it was like crazy rain. And I swear the temperature dropped down to like 13 to 16 degrees or something, like in that range. Because I know how that feels, and that felt like that. Like I was freezing, and we had studio that day. So I go inside the studio where it is stupidly cold. I tell you, it is so cold, I swear my toes were freezing off. And we are not allowed to wear shoes in there. So like, I was shoeless, not protected from the cold. My sock-covered feet were on these cold marble floors. It was so cold. It wasn't even marble, it was wood. And you'd think wood flooring would be warmer. No. No. It was so cold. I was freezing. And because it was so cold, I was like falling asleep every 5 seconds. Every single time the teacher would talk. Because this is a practical class, most of the time we were like walking around, moving mic stands and pianos and setting things up and like, you know, trying to record shit in the studio. Every single time the teacher said something, like 15 minutes, that was like in the beginning of the class, he was talking for like 15 minutes, giving us a brief of what we're supposed to be doing for the rest of the semester and for this class, and like, because he's gonna be away for 2 weeks, blah, 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 whatever. I swear, like halfway through fell asleep and kept falling asleep throughout the class whenever he would stop for more than 5 minutes to give us instructions. This is what the cold does to me. I just get really, really sleepy. I am a cold-blooded mammal. I sleep when it gets cold. I do not like being extra warm, and I do not like being too cold. Actually, I don't mind being too cold. It's fine. But I feel sleepy when I'm cold. For context, it was so cold. And for the past 2 days, it's just been really weirdly cold and gloomy sometimes, but then mostly cold, and there'll be random wind blowing, and like there'll be a breeze and it'll feel very pleasant, but then, you know, you start shivering. And I forgot my jacket today when I was going to class, and I was like, oh, ouch, I forgot my jacket. But then I was like, I'm too lazy to go back upstairs to get it, because I was already like almost to the bus stop, and I was like, I ain't doing this, bro, whatever, like we're going. If I freeze, I freeze. Thankfully today the AC wasn't as bad as it usually is in the lecture hall, because like normally, I swear, I'm freezing just sitting there. I'm sitting and I'm shivering. I don't like it. It's like the temperature difference between everywhere inside and everywhere outside is so big that it actually is uncomfortable. I feel like it's starting to make me more and more like annoyed at this, and frankly it makes people sick. I have you know, big temperature differences are such a no-no for your body. The human body does not like that. So yeah, that's my proclamation of the day. I dislike the whole inside cold, outside hot thing. To be fair though, it's like that in India as well. I don't know why I'm saying it like it's the first time I've experienced this. It's not true. I think it's just like, it is so much colder everywhere inside here. Like, it's not this, the difference isn't this bad in India, I swear. Like, I go to the mall, yes, it's like, oh, it's air conditioned, it's so nice, but like, the like, walking outside of the mall towards the, like, exit already makes itself, like, becomes warmer and warmer. So by the time you reach outside, although you will be like, oh yeah, it's so much hotter outside than it is inside, you're not gonna feel like a shock to your whole body because the temperature dropped so rapidly or rose so rapidly. Yeah, why is it not picking up on my blinking? What the heck? Okay, I think it's fine. Whatever. But yeah, that's it. I'll stop talking about the cold. Anyways, I turned it off so that because it was like, I was kind of cold, and I still kind of am, but I'm at the same time warm. It's very weird. This weather is so strange. I swear to God. Okay, I'm gonna start saying bye, and it's gonna take like a good 15 minutes. I hope it will take less than that. I will try my best to make it less than that. Mostly because I gotta go do my nasal rinse and then hopefully get ready to sleep. And in the middle of that, I'll find a time to talk to my mom. But mostly, I would like to sleep soon. I'm so sleepy all of a sudden. Actually, I've been sleepy for the past, like, hour or so. I started this sleepy. Do you guys... Okay, I'm gonna make y'all listen to the song I wrote after this week gets over. And after I ask my professor if it's okay to share online. Because if he goes like, oh no, Mew, actually, because it's for school stuff, you can't do that. It would be quite bad, because then I would be accused of plagiarizing myself, which I'm gonna go on a tangent because this really baffled me when I heard about it. So there's something really weird in my uni where they told us, like, literally last year, okay? So one of my teachers goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Eh? Oh, okay. I'm a music student, and when I write assignments for songs, which is why I was explaining this. So this is something that one of my teachers told me last year. Actually, he told everyone in my class. He was like, listen, do not reuse a song that you've used for a different assignment or you've already, like, made it before or something. Okay? And he was like, do you know why? Because even though you made it and you wrote it, if you don't cite yourself, you're gonna be flagged for plagiarism. I have to let y'all know, I was asking him because I wrote a song for a different class. And I was like, oh, can I use this? Can I produce this instead of... And this was for my music technology class, right? So I was just doing, like, Logic. That's what we were learning. We were just learning how to use Logic. Okay? So I was like, oh, can I just use, like, reuse my, like, a song I wrote for a different class because I want to produce it anyways. And he looks at me, he goes, no, Mew, if you do that, it's gonna flag as plagiarism in our system. I wrote it though. And he's like, yeah, you're not allowed to share, like, assignment work. Like, if you wrote a song for a different assignment, you can't reuse that for this assignment. Because when we show that to the external examiners, they're gonna be like, oh my god, your student literally used somebody else's work. Even if my name is on it. Even if I did the whole thing and you can see it. I digress. This is why I need to ask for permission. Because it's a song that I wrote this week for an assignment that is graded. So if I show it off online and then the teacher is like, let me do some digging, and he finds it, and even if he knows this is me, I'm gonna be told that I plagiarized it. And they have a very strong plagiarism policy. I know. Oh, okay. So the sampling thing, I think if I sample only a little bit of it, it's fine. But I was just talking about, I wrote this song and I used it for a different class, but I want to produce it as like a final mix or like a fully produced version for one of my production classes. And they were like, no can do, boo. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, every single time I ask a teacher about this, they also sound really frustrated by this policy, but it's not in their hands, so they can't do jack shit about it. But, like, you're the teacher. If enough of you are like, hey, this seems like really stupid, I feel like the management would change the policy and be like, okay, fine, I guess we're not doing that. But apparently it's also because some students were reusing old work that they did, like, in the years before and just reusing that for, like, multiple assignments throughout multiple years. And in that case, I see why they would implement such a policy, but come on, how lazy can you get about your own assignments? Good lord. Point still stands though. I wrote the song. I just need to ask my teacher if I can show it out, like, to other people on the internet. Like, if it's on the YouTube, is it fine? Or do I have to wait till the semester gets over? Which is, like, in November end, so that's a while. Would they at least accept, like, a sort of remix? No. As long as, like, okay, if it's, like, if the Brief says, oh, you can do a arrangement of a cover or you can do a cover version, it should be fine. But in this case, he very explicitly said if you're doing an original work and it's been used in an assignment before, do not submit it here because it's gonna get flagged. And it's like, what the fuck? We were all so confused. Even the teacher was exasperated by it. It was so weird. I disliked that immensely because I really wanted to use this. Like, I want to write a song and I want to produce it in the same freaking semester. Guess what? I want to use school resources so that I can, you know, get something good out of it. And they don't want that for me. They're like, no, Mew, you can't do that. That's illegal, at least in our school. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's whatever. Just write multiple songs. It works out. Yeah. It's fine. So, where was I? Saying bye. I was gonna say bye. I just extended my saying. See, I talked for like 7 minutes. I tangented for a full 7 minutes before I came back to where I wanted to be 7 minutes ago. This is a lesson in I cannot keep doing this. Oh my god. Oh, I'm yawning so much. Anyways, closing remarks. I really appreciate all the love and support. Thank you so much for showing up even when I didn't even do any actual music making. This is on me. I burned my fingers. Multiple of them, and then accidentally stabbed a different finger. So both hands were out of commission by the time I realized I was doing a music making stream. But I feel like my workaround for this was still pretty good. I feel like this is still pretty informative. And hopefully it helps people. To be fair though, like my music making stuff is like 2 birds with 1 stone. I get to make content out of practicing composition. It's really fun. And I feel like it's also fun to watch other people make music because it's like really a fun look into people's creative process, you know? Especially if you feel involved, which I try to make you guys feel involved. Hopefully I do a good job. But it doesn't matter. I wish I could show you my other hand has a band-aid covered on the middle finger because I like accidentally by a sharp plastic piece. I swear when that happened, I thought like I lodged a piece of plastic in my skin. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to find a way to get this plastic splinter out. And like, I'm so not happy about that. But it was not lodged in there. It was fine. We were saved by my quick thinking and dexterity or something. I don't know. This was more of a chill stream. Yes, it was. I just talked for an hour and 45 minutes and it works off. It's gonna happen a lot. I allocate myself like 15 minutes to say bye because I know I tangent every single time. I feel like there's only a handful of streams where I finished saying bye in less than 5 minutes and like disappeared. But you know, it's something to think about. Why am I like this? Is it because of my culture? Probably. It's just how people are in my culture. You're gonna take forever to say bye. Drag it out as long as possible. On some level, it's like, you can't bear to leave. And on another side, it's like, but I gotta go. Sometimes it's just like social politeness. But for me, it's because I can't help myself. I like tangenting too much. I feel like there should be a Mew version of that word. It's too hot. I'm gonna try to wrap this up quickly. I wanna go back to my bed where it's like straight up cold air is blowing on it because the fan's on and it's gonna feel so good. Oh, I bought like 3 different perfumes. I don't know, I couldn't smell the difference after a while. I was like, they all smell the same apparently. That's not true. They smell different. I hope I did not just spend not a lot of money, but a decent amount of money on perfume. that I'm getting myself as a birthday gift. Whatever. This conversation is over. I'm not going to talk about perfume again. Another day, the perfume conversation shall be pulled up. For now, next music making stream, next week. I hope we can actually make something. The last thing I made is what's playing in the background, which was last week, which was so good. I finally completed something after like 2 or 3 months of like struggling with just starting things and not finishing them because I didn't have no ideas left, or well, no ideas to process. It's been pretty fun. Long day, and it shall be a long day tomorrow as well, and I won't see y'all tomorrow because I get home at like 7:30, so at that point I kind of just want to eat and sleep. At least today it was kind of like my choice to come home by like 7 p.m. because I went to the market to buy things and it was fun. Which is where I found nutritional yeast, and I didn't buy it because I was like, I will go to a different supermarket, not because it's cheaper, because I like the experience more. Also because I was saving all my fun shopping, grocery shopping for Saturday or Sunday, because you know I have fun grocery shopping, so I might as well like make it a whole thing for my birthday. I'm going out of my way to make it really fun this year. Last year I did jack shit. I like literally did nothing. I slept most of the day and then went out for like 5 or 6 hours and then went back home and ate kind of like a shit dinner. I gotta say, dinner last year's birthday was so meh. Was unhappy about it, but I got the like I didn't pay for the food, so I didn't care. I'm just saying. We were supposed to go out, but we didn't do that, so not blaming anyone, I'm just saying it's an observation. But next Monday I'm going to get myself some macarons. Woo! I'm so excited about going to that fancy French bakery patisserie. I think it's just like, I know it's a patisserie, but the fact that its specialty is macarons and that's what it's known for makes me so sad that they didn't call it a macaron something. I don't know enough French for that. I'm like very beginner French. It's fine. I'm gonna go now. Take care of yourselves, guys. Eat well, sleep well, hydrate. For real, hydrate. I honestly didn't keep any water next to me, which is on me. I thought I had enough tea to get through like... I did not account for me talking for more than an hour. I thought I would be like 45 minutes and I'd be like, okay, I'm done. I want to go to sleep. Can't help myself. I just love to talk. So, yeah. I'll see y'all, not tomorrow, but on Friday, when I don't remember what we're doing. But let me just really quickly check, because I don't ever remember my schedule. Ooh, Wall World. I love Wall World. It's such a good game. I'm excited to play it. I've played it a lot in my free time, like the year before last, 2023. I was like really into Wall World for like the end of 2023. I think it was like a month of me playing it almost every day. Maybe? I'm not sure. It's been a while. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday and tell y'all about how my performance went. I'm very excited and at the same time not for it. We have our first and last rehearsal tomorrow. I just don't know what my classmates are gonna do with my song. If they mess it up, I'm gonna be so mad. But my senior did say it was a good song, so confidence. Although I knew it was a good song, like I can't stop singing it. I have to consciously stop myself in stream when I wanna hum it, because it's like, it's really good. It's really good. I'm very proud of myself. Like, I've finagled that and it's so good. It's been a while since I wrote a song for an assignment, that's why. When you write songs, when you're getting graded on a song you write, you really have to overthink it, even when it's not an overthinking kind of genre. This is gonna be 2 hours, yeah. You got me. I would find a way. I would, but I seriously will go now. I really have to go start doing my nighttime routine. That's gonna take an hour just because of the stupid medicine. Ugh. I'm still mad about that, but I'm almost finished with my second bottle of that. So whenever the third bottle gets finished, that means I can stop. But I'm seeing real results. So I'm kind of like, maybe I should get more when it's finished. I would have to go back home to India for that, but... And I would also have to see the doctor again. She was like, when you finish the medicine, you should come get another checkup. That's probably only gonna happen in December, so... Oh well. See y'all, bye. Bye-bye now. Mwah. I'm seriously going though, bye.